Well, the stage is different for us here, but the stage is also finally set as the Ateneo Blue Eagles take the last spot in the UAAP Season 86 Men's Basketball Final Four. Now, with me to break down the matchups coming your way this weekend is UAAP analyst, my co-host, UAAP almost Final Four na list, Jett Manuel.
Thank you.
Grabe.
Okay.
Ateneo and Adamson, let's start off with that game first. Because Ateneo showed their dominance, some people were doubting them, but then what stood out for you there first?
I mean, I covered the game, so I saw it live, and everything that happened in between. Ateneo just went out, stuck to their script, and what's most impressive for me is that they stuck to their script, their game plan from the first minute all the way up to the last. Even with a 20-point lead, they were still on it. The defense was impeccable. The way they picked up their guys full court. They knew the adjustments. Everything was going their way. They basically stopped Adamson from doing what they wanted, and they got what they wanted on the offensive end.
Well, between the two birds, the Blue Eagles flew higher. Now, let us now continue here and focus on the matchup between UP and Ateneo by looking at some of their scoring numbers here. You take a look at that. Again, numbers-wise, a big disparity in points per game. It could be a bit different with regards to the defense as shown, pero yung bench points in particular, Jett, that is something to look at.
Okay, I mean, if you look at UP, I mean, first of all, this game's going to be crazy.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Battle of Katipunan, that's going to be insane. Final Four, okay. Now, UP is #1 for a reason. They're leading the league in scoring, 1, 2, top 2. And Ateneo is a little bit further behind. I think they're 4th or 5th. But the bench points, I think is the difference. You can see they score more than half of their points off the bench, and I think that's going to spell the difference twice as much as the Blue Eagles on their side. So the depth of the team has always been great on paper, but now we see them playing in the game, and they've just shown that whoever they put in, I mean, the starting five has been switched out, I think, most in the whole UAP season, and I think UP is just the most dominant offensive team right now in the league.
Yeah, I think offensively, I think they're #2 offensively in terms of points scored itong UP. But of course, let's see how that works out in the playoffs where everything is really hyper-focused. Now, let's move on to the non-scoring numbers here between UP and Ateneo. And you have to take a look at the assist count here. Here, this could change a bit with the steals coming, especially from UP, with the way that they defend. They force a lot of turnovers. But at the same time, you have to feel this Ateneo team will try and clamp down on that because that is a bit of a weakness for them here with 17.1.
I think it just comes with the inexperience.
Yeah.
I mean, the guys that we have on the Blue Eagles side, almost all of them, especially their key players, Jared Brown, Amos, they're all new to this stage, and it's totally different. Anyone can say that it's totally different under the bright lights of the Final Four, and going up against a #1 team who's been there before and their key players have been there before. I think that's going to spell a little bit of a difference too. And like you mentioned, they lead the league in forcing turnovers.
Yeah.
They lead the league in steals. Ateneo's challenge is to protect the ball in order for them to run the offense that they want to run. But the pressure defense of UP has really, skyrocketed this season because of the depth that they have on the bench. In the assist numbers, you can see they love to share the ball. They have a lot of superstars, and Coach Goldwyn has done a great job in convincing the superstars to share the ball.
Yeah, and of course, let's see how Ateneo handle all the turnovers. By the way, this is actually good for #3 in the entire league with 17.1, so they do take care of the ball particularly well. Let's take a look at the main matchup here between these two. Of course, when you take a look at this, I'm actually interested in actually why you picked this. Juf and Balungay are your choices here. So when you take a look at this, I'm going to guess, basing it from you, that rebounds is going to be a factor in this game in particular. When you look at this matchup, I'm not quite sure. So what is it?
I mean, if you ask me a superstar matchup that I'm going to love to see and I expect to see in this Final Four game, it's going to be the big men inside.
Yeah.
They're both key players. They're not only important players or X factors.
Yep.
They are key players. Wherever Malik goes, anytime he's on the court, you can feel the impact right away. The defense that he's a defensive anchor. Offensively, he's mature enough to know what to do with the ball when he gets it, and even without it. And Kai Balungay has done an exceptional job this season being consistent. So if he wants to go against Malik Diouf, he has to raise the bar. You can see the averages; they're both impressive. But Balungay has the bigger challenge here going up against a guy like Malik.
Yeah, I mentioned the rebound because he's #7 in rebounding. Talk about Kai Balungay, and of course Malik Diouf being number 2 overall. Pero offensive rebounding, that's where it becomes a bit closer. Number 2, itong si Kai, and Americ Juf at number 1. And you have to feel whoever extends possession might make a difference here today. Take a look at the X factors here that you have. And when you take a look at the X factors, you have to look at Cancino and Amos. Amos in particular is an interesting case. Here in this photo, he looks like Jello Vito, but let's not focus on that. But you take a look at Mason Amos because he actually does not see action towards certain scenarios for Coach Tab Baldwin because of his defense. How can Ateneo ensure that he stays on the floor longer? Because the way he shoots the ball is at a whopping 42.9%.
I mean, that Amos has gone in and out, especially in possessions where you want defense, you bring Obasa in. You want offense, Amos in. But I think that was, during the part of the season where Coach Tab is trying to give Mason a feel.
Yeah.
The last game, I saw him start the game. I saw him, he was immediately inserted in there to defend Cedric Manzano of Adamson. So I think they're giving a little bit more trust, and I think it's just the offense that he provides that overshadows the lack of consistency that he has defensively. But you look at the numbers, that's why I love this matchup.
Yeah.
It's because these guys are the best shooting players for both squads. CJ Cancino has led UP in scoring. They're the #1 team offensively. They're the #1 team in terms of talent, and he's leading all of that talent in scoring. He's shooting 37%. Every time he has the ball in the three-point line, he's going to jack it up, and a lot of them go in. And the percentages, I think, for them, it's going to be key because CJ Cancino may be a little bit of less pressure for him, but he's always going to be there. But Mason Amos has to provide that spark. And he has done so far. And when they win, he's been amazing in those games.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Again, easily one of the best shooters in the UAP this season in particular. But let's now move on to the next matchup, of course. That is Salle against NU. And when you take a look at this matchup in particular, we were talking about the offense of UP just a while ago. But then #1 in terms of points scored, the DLSU Green Archers going up against an NU Bulldogs who lag a bit behind. But then this matchup may be closer than the numbers suggest here.
Yeah, definitely. I think NU has battled through injuries. During the start of the season, they've shown that, they're one of the most impressive teams in the league. And they've kept that #2 spot for almost until the last game.
Yeah.
Until the last game. So they're there for a reason. It's because of whoever's on the floor. I think they stick to Coach Jeff's game plan, and they know how to perform under the lights. But you look at the Green Archers, how they've peaked. If I can get if I can divide the stats between the first round and the second round, this is gonna be way off.
Yeah.
Because they peaked at the right time. 8-game winning streak. They swept the second round, and the way they've been playing is just everybody's peaking at the right time, and I think that's why they're very, very dangerous.
And speaking about being dangerous here, you have to take a look at some of the defensive numbers here and the non-scoring numbers here between Salle and NU. And when you take a look at the non-scoring numbers, you have to take a look at the fact that in terms of points allowed, 67.6%, if I'm not mistaken, here for the NU Bulldogs. That is a great number. But how do you do that against the hottest offensive team in Salle?
That's it. That's the question that everybody's going to wonder. And what will NU do in this game to do that? Because they're the #1 team on offense, and you're #2 or #3, I think, in points allowed in the league. So what's going to happen here? And that's what I think what makes this so exciting, because now a lot of game plans are coming out. But I think a key number, that's why I wanted to focus on the rebounds, is because Salle is dominant on the boards.
Yeah.
They have almost 6 rebound advantage, and that can easily convert to 12 points for Salle. And they've depended a lot on the rebounding of the bigs, Mike Phillips, Kevin Kiambao, and I think that's just the number that I think people are going to watch out for. And you has to do a good job in containing that.
Well, you said the magic name there, Kevin Kiambao, and so we're going to talk a bit about him, and of course, Kian Baclan in particular, who are the guys to watch out for. Point total's not quite there. And if, again, looking at the numbers, this matchup may seem a lot closer come game time because of the impact these two guys have on their respective teams.
Yeah, that's it, impact. The impact that they have respectively on their teams. This is a superstar matchup that I chose because Kian Baclan is a point person on offense for NU.
Yeah.
Kevin Kiambao is the point person on offense for the DLSU Green Archers. And you can see the stats. Of course, it's incomparable in a way because they play different positions. But the main comparison for me is that they're the catalysts for the offense.
And of course, you talk about being catalyst of the offense. We have to go to one last matchup here, and that is Evan Nelly and Jake Figueroa here for NU and LaSalle. And these guys are going to have the ball quite a bit, I'm guessing here, for these two teams. In particular, Nelly, who really initiates a lot of the offense here for LaSalle. He's been a bit on and off based on the field goal shooting percentage, but then you're a shooter. That's okay.
That's okay. I mean, shoot or shoot. I'm gonna defend Evan in that case. But Jake Figueroa has done his job too. But talking about Evan, I think this season is very impressive for him because he leads the league in assists to turnover ratio. He's number 1 in the league in that. He leads the league in assists. And I think the team now, if you look at Kevin Cambao, if he's off, because NU's gonna guard him, gonna focus on him, and LaSalle's gonna focus on Kian Baclaan. These are the guys that you go to next. So it depends on how they play.
Jett, really quickly, who makes the finals?
How much do we love Pinoy sports? With all our heart, all the time. Download Pilipinas Live now.